Welcome to the Weekend Warriors YouTube channel. Today I'm going to create a waste treatment facility for Gaslands or Warhammer or whatever you want to play. I use these two bottles that I found for miniature alcohol pieces, and I just cut off the tops because I like the cylinders. I figure I can use them for something here. And so I clean them out. You can see I put on gloves because there were remnants of alcohol left in them from who knows who, not mine. Anyways, I glue them down with some glue that I had, some sort of super glue. It didn't quite hold, so I ended up using a hot glue gun. You can see my glue is kind of orange because the tip of my hot glue gun is pretty rusty and nasty and old. But it still works, so I keep using it. So I continue to put these things down, get them fastened down. You can see all the stringy bits there I'm pulling off. One of my gloves already ripped. You can see the thumb's missing there. So my wife does some plastic canvas craft stuff. So she gave me a couple pieces of her scraps. I figure I'm going to make some sort of walkway between the two cylinders here. And so I get it and cut it to shape. And I thought, oh, this would be a cool place, you know, if you're going to play. And you could have a miniature perched up top there, you know, maybe a scout or someone just observing, if it's part of a base. So I get that hot glued in there. You can see it's just hot glue holding it in place, nothing special. And then I got another piece of scrap from her as well, and I'm just going to use this kind of a ladder to climb up there so a miniature can feasibly climb to the top if it were real, I guess. And then I find pieces of paper, like cardstock that I have lying around. And I just find these little scraps that are on my table, so I figured I'd use them. They're probably leftovers from Gaslands cars that I use to armor windows. So I find all these pieces. I glue them on to make it look like the cylinders were patched up. Maybe there were leaks that were fixed, you know, with whatever they had lying around. So you can see I'm just adding more of these little pieces everywhere. And then this little cap here is the tip from a hot glue, or not hot glue, sorry, but a super glue bottle that was discarded because it was spent. Some more scrap paper I'm finding. You see I'm just gluing them on wherever, kind of haphazardly. And it gets kind of funny here because the glue is sticking to my glove. It's not really keeping the paper down. I'm battling with it. It's kind of frustrating. You can see my thumb poking through the glove there. Gloves are useful in that way. And just continue to put more pieces here. And I'm just finding bits, random bits from my bits box just to see what I can put on there. And then I decided to use these teeth. You know, I figured it's something like maybe an orc would do from Warhammer, something it would build and protect this base. You know, it doesn't have to be orcs, but I just thought it was kind of cool when it was something I had lying around. So I cut this one to shape. It takes a little more work because that little piece of the hot glue tip there, or not hot glue, again, that is a super glue bottle tip. And so I continue finding these pieces. I don't know what this is to, something I found on the ground, probably a ring pop or something similar, right? I have no idea. I use my old little saw here to cut off the tip there. I start using my hot glue and I'm running out, so you can see it's barely enough. And you'll see later I end up re-gluing it because it didn't quite hold because it wasn't enough glue. So it falls off later when I go to spray paint everything. So I got this sprue from this little figure I built recently. And so I kept the sprue, so I figured these will work as piping that's coming off these cylinders, you know, for the waste that's in there. Orc waste, who knows. But I add these as pipes, just kind of glue them in place. They seem to hold up fairly well. And I got this zip tie. I figure I'll make kind of a fence around the front. I was trying to think of where I'd put it. Well, I guess that would be the back. Just kind of glue it on. You can see I'm goofing up. I think I put the glue on the front instead of the back, so then I put it on and then I scrape that glue off. Nice and warm on my thumb, which was really cool. And then let's kind of seal it in place with some more glue. If it looks kind of gross, I think it kind of works out. Kind of leaves a mess everywhere. And I think that works for what I'm going for anyways. And let's see what piece I have here. Just some, I think it's part of a pen that, you know, the clip that'll hold it in your pocket, so I end up gluing that to the side. Then that's the other part of that piece that's on the top of the other cylinder, the long shaft part. I just glued it on there. So now I primered it with some kind of a rust brown primer. You can see that cap now that had fallen off because it wasn't enough glue earlier. And then I decided, oh, okay, I'm going to start painting. I'll add a little bit of a kind of a light brown for the bottom, almost like a sand or dirt color. And I just kind of want to put a base on it. I know I'll add more colors to it momentarily, but I want to get a good, nice sandy kind of look down at the bottom. Since we are in the wastelands, the primer, it's almost like a rust color, so it kind of works as a nice base coat, and I don't have to cover very well on the cylinders and the other pieces because the rust poking through actually kind of looks good. You can see the teeth there. I ended up adding a few more colors here, but right now I just want it to look like dirt, you know, nice sandy dirt. And you can see it's coming together for such a simple piece. You can see those panels on the cylinders there, and it's coming together for something simple and fairly cheap because most of the parts were found, other than the plastic canvas that did come from my wife, but those are usually $1 or $2 for a big square of it or something. They're really inexpensive. If you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, they have them, and I believe even some Walmarts may carry them, but they're very cheap. So I'm just laying on a gray on the cylinders. Oh, and I finally glued that piece back on with an ample supply of glue, and it's a little off center, but it doesn't matter. Continue to brush on some gray, just kind of lightly. I don't, like I said, I don't mind the rust color shining through. It gives it a nice cool rust effect. The one cylinder with the dent has some character because it's dented, you know, you think kind of looks metallic, looks like it really got beat up. And just so you know, I don't really paint this quickly. That is sped up like 500%. So then I'm going ahead and I'm painting on some like a golden brown, just adding it to the dirt here. I just want to give it a little more color. My wife's in here. Valerie, do you want to say anything?
Here's your dinner.
Oh, that's awesome. My dinner. All right. So I continue to paint this thing. I'm just adding some black to that one bit there, the cap to the super glue. Got it right that time. And then I'm gonna add some more colors here. I really want this to kind of look a mess. See, I've got this gray that's really thick. That gray is, I think it's really old, and it's really kind of globbed up in the bottle. It doesn't come out very well, so it takes a little bit of effort, which is fine. It covers nicely. It works. It does exactly what it needs to do, I think. So it's not overly watered down. It's probably one of the better paints as far as the consistency goes. It's almost like an oil. It's very thick, and I like it. I'm going to mix in a little green, make it look like, you know, this nasty waste treatment plant. You know, maybe it's pork poo or something in there. And I add some colors around these things. Like, they've leaked, they've had issues, right? Because you see the panels on there. A lot of repair work's been done, but no cleanup's ever been done, obviously. So just a lot of nastiness on the outside here. A little more brown. I got this real crappy brush, which is great for just kind of blobbing on some colors. Just adding different shades of brown to the dirt, make it look like, you know, this place is, it's pretty nasty, and it's had some messes, right? So I'll continue. I think I add some more, like some oranges here, just like bits of rust, and some more browns. So I'll spread that on here. So there's the orange, nice bright orange. I just put a little bit on here and there, like there's rust spots. It's maybe a bit too much orange, so I do tone it down a little bit with some brown. Just kind of add some color here and there. It actually looks really good on this camera, probably better than it does in person. In person, I think it's a little more toned down. So here you can see I'm adding some brown, just kind of cleaning it up so it's not too orange. I don't want it to look like it's just like, you know, just orange and not rust. You want it to look like it's got some variation. So now I'm just gonna add a little more gray to the teeth. I want them to look like they're stone or metal, you know, just not that they're just part of the dirt. just a little bit of color here, not too much. Just kind of cap it off where there's still dirt on them, but they're clearly something other than dirt. And I started putting my wash on. Just get, you know, a heavy amount of water and some black. Just kind of run it all through there. And I leave it kind of sitting on the top a little thick, but in other areas I don't put it on as much. But I give it a nice filthy rinsing of this black wash. And then I just let it dry for a bit. I have not clear coated, but I do plan on it. But here's some glamour shots of this thing. So there it is, finished. It looks really cool, looks realistic. You wouldn't believe those are just cheap plastic alcohol bottles. Thanks for watching.